my name is Johannes Becht. During the past months, I've been talking with a plethora of people about the current issue of medical cannabis in Oklahoma. Like we all know now, it has been legalized on the medical level in 2018, and now there might be a chance of recreational legalization. Activists always stress how less dangerous cannabis is compared to alcohol or nicotine, and they certainly have a point. However, the side effects of regular cannabis consumption should not be underestimated. A variety of things can happen if you do use cannabis too regularly and over a long period of time, as SWOSU pharmacy professor Dr. Scott Long told me.
The lay public doesn't often know is that with daily use, chronic use, the cumulative adverse effects can actually be just as harmful or even more than some of these other drugs. And that's one of the problems I think we have with a public perception of cannabis, is because it is interpreted, it is observed, it is thought to be safer than alcohol, safer than nicotine, because it's not as acutely dangerous. And to answer your question, one very good example, people go, oh, smoking cigarettes is horrible. And we know that because of lung cancer, emphysema. But we also know that when it comes to recreational cannabis use, the great majority of people who are using it for their personal enjoyment are smoking it. And the adverse effects of tobacco-based cigarettes is not so much due to the nicotine, but due to the fact that you are inhaling very hot smoke that is being derived from a plant compound. And that's exactly the same thing that's happening with cannabis. So the risk for emphysema, the risk for lung cancer, long-term effects are just as great for cannabis as they would be for cigarette smoking. And I don't think the lay public has really realized that yet. It's the delta-9 THC, the tetrahydrocannabinol. That's what provides the pleasurable effects. But that THC is also responsible for the panic attacks, the anxiety, and in very high doses, a profound psychosis that can happen as a side effect. Cannabis can have some what we call peripheral side effects as well. It has a very good history. We know that it can increase heart rate. And if heart rate is increased enough, that can lead to arrhythmias. So that would be a danger of especially excessive cannabis use. Another side effect that really bothers me a lot is we know that cannabis suppresses the immune system. It's an immunosuppressant. I know a lot of people say no one has ever died from cannabis. Well, if you interpret that as no one has ever died from an acute overdose of cannabis, that may very well be true. But we know that cannabis can increase that heart rate. It can change your thinking. You know, there have been a couple of pretty cool studies that have looked at people. They actually put them in a driving simulation test under the influence of cannabis. And their reaction times were slowed. They were more likely to speed under the influence of cannabis. They actually hit more pedestrians in the simulated driving test than the people not under cannabis. So cannabis use could lead to death by automobile accident. Oh, another side effect. Produces a thing called trailing, where, you know, when you're driving at night and you see the headlights of a car coming to you, with trailing, you see headlights here, and then here, and then here, and then here. So your visual input is impaired. Well, which one of those is the real car? If you can't judge which is a real car, there's an automobile accident.
I also talked with Anthony Moore. He's House Representative for Oklahoma House District 57, which includes Weatherford, Clinton, and currently the northern parts of Elk City. I asked him what he thinks about medical cannabis.
I don't think medicinal marijuana is the end-all be-all for all problems. You know, it's not sleeping. Is there other things that we can do to address that? Is that the best, least restrictive alternative? And so I think we need to continue to grow, and I think that's an education issue for myself included.